what's going on around us in terms of the increase of online gambling. I mean, anybody's phone is now a casino. What's going on? What are your current thoughts about it? And what should we be thinking about in terms of both public policy and also our own behavior?
Okay, I'll talk specifically about gambling, though we can link the gambling, sex, and cannabis all together in some ways. Somebody asked me, what's different now at 25 years in counseling that was from back then? And I said the conversations we're having and the way technology's impacted people struggling with addictions, whatever that addiction is. Prior to 2018, you pretty much were going to go to a state that had some gambling. You're going to go to Atlantic City. You're going to go to Vegas. After 2018, when the federal government said, okay, states, you're on your own, do what you want to do. I live in the state of Pennsylvania. We're now the #2 state in revenue for gambling each year. We've beat out New Jersey. We've put the last nail in Atlantic City's coffin. We have 13 brick and mortar casinos with plans to build more. We've got off-track betting. We've got sports betting. We've got online gambling. You want to do it in Pennsylvania, you can do it. And we're making boatloads of cash as tax revenue. Whereas a friend of mine said losses, which I thought was an interesting way to take a look at it. And we're talking billions and billions of dollars, right? Last year, across the United States, I think the overall revenue was $66 billion in revenue. I don't have that kind of monopoly money, right? And that's across all gambling, all states. But still, that's a tremendous amount of money that's coming out of people's pockets. If you watch sports, they're talking about the betting, the over/under, the lines during the sports, during football, during basketball, whatever. It's so pervasive right now. It's in your face, and it's normalized. It's okay, and it has become. I think it's the next epidemic we're going to be dealing with. What we do know is that the 1-800-GAMBLER number, the number of people who are calling into that, has exponentially increased. The demographics have changed. Who is gambling has changed. I know in Pennsylvania, because I live there and I keep track of those kind of statistics, they look like me. Middle-aged, white males, educated, access to technology with disposable income. We are the ones who are actually spending the most time and most money gambling, where previously it would have been a completely different demographic. Tremendous amount of impact on elderly, that they're gambling much more. Even though in the state of Pennsylvania, the lottery benefits its older citizens, the older citizens are also handing it back because they're doing a lot of gambling. So it's this incredible impact, and with the ability to, I'm looking at Sergio's computer, you've got a casino right there. You can be playing blackjack, get out another computer, get out your phone, get out your tablet. When I'm working with a gambler in treatment, a lot of times younger folks, young adults in college, they're gambling 3-4 screens at a time. They're 10 grand, 15 grand in the hole, and it happens like that. One of the things I noticed, just anecdotally, is when we had our first responders program, which was a specialty program for police, firefighters, EMT, ambulance folks, that they were highly impacted by gambling. They would go home after a very stressful shift, crack open a beer maybe, but sit there and get on the casino, and mostly a lot of slot machines, things that were more passive, more just sort of veg out and lower their cortisol levels. So it wasn't like they're playing blackjack and staying jacked up. Most of them are actually doing much more passive gambling, which is sort of I just want to escape from the world. And we're still seeing that is a huge, huge part of online gambling, is the table games, but a lot of the slot machines, because people do just want to be able to sit there and almost scroll.
I just heard something that you said, which is really interesting. There are certain types of gambling that are more passive, and there are others that are more active. I guess craps and blackjack and the other games that they have. Is that the same kind of thing from a personality or chemical I don't know, chemically probably the same, but that the selection of drugs that somebody takes?
Yeah,
is it similar to that?
Yeah, I think so. Again, anecdotally from my experience, you have people who they'll put it in front of me, I'll do it, whatever.
Yeah.
But somebody says, look, I like cocaine. I don't want to do a lot of heroin. I want to be screaming. I want to be gripping onto the curtains like a cat. Heroin addicts are like, dude, really? I'm really not interested in that. Let me just nod out, mellow out, escape from the world.
It's the same as the gambling thing.
Right. And so for gambling, there's two types we can categorize: action gambling and passive gambling. Action gambling is when I've got some skin in the game insofar as skill. Blackjack, I'm choosing. Sports betting, I'm choosing based on this, this, and this. It's actually more about my identity and feeling good about myself and me. It's more of an ego boost, right? I was just doing a conference with a gentleman who says, gambling has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the excitement. It has to do with what it does for you. The passive gambling is, let me get a scratch-off ticket and just sit there. I might get a little excited, but I'm escaping, right? With the slot machines, I'm escaping. I just want to sit there, hit the button. I'm old enough to remember pulling it. Hit the button, see if I win. It's exciting, but it's also very narrow. I'm not doing it with anybody. I'm not paying attention to the world. I'm not engaging. I'm actually disengaging and just narrowly focused on, let me just escape.